Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Ann Cyran is with us now. She is the Interim Comprehensive Planning Manager for the town of Hilton Head, and she's here for a very specific reason, because we need your input on this short-term rental initiative that is going on Hilton Head Island. So, Ann, welcome to the show. Let's dive right into, short-term rentals. There's only certain areas of the communities that allow it, but you're really looking at standards, correct?
Yes, that's correct. As we're all aware, the town has had short-term rentals since its development as a modern resort community, and they're very important to the town's economy. Up until now, we haven't had any specific standards for short-term rentals other than you have to have a business license. And some private communities allow them, such as Sea Pines and Palmetto Dunes and Shipyard, and others don't allow them. But in areas outside of gated communities, there are short-term rentals that are mixed in with residential developments, and that's an area of concerns for some folks.
And the areas of concern would be garbage, maybe too many people in a particular location, and what else? Noise
in some areas, and excuse me, that is the number of rentals has increased in recent years. We've seen an increase. And I think the number of incidents have increased, resulting in complaints. Now, most short-term rentals are well managed. Most of our guests are well behaved. It's just a few standouts, and those standouts can create some problems in the community.
And so when we say short-term rental, we were talking earlier, it's usually about 30 days?
That's what most communities define it as. We don't currently have a definition, so we'll need to establish that.
Right. So as you are working on these standards, I mean, is it a whole host of standards that you're looking at, or exactly what? Tell us more details about that.
Sure. So there are some issues that I think are good neighbor type issues, like you mentioned, noise, trash, parking. Right. I think that would be, again, most short-term rentals already have a system in place or comply. There are a few outliers that cause some problems. Right. So those are some standards that most communities have in place. There are some more complicated standards that we need to discuss, I think, in terms of the number of folks who can occupy a short-term rental. Should there be a limit on the total number of short-term rentals in the island? Those are pretty weighty issues that I think require some additional consideration. And the town has been working with White & Smith, which is a consulting firm out of Charleston that writes codes for short-term rentals, to advise us on those issues. We've also been getting a lot of stakeholder feedback from the entire community, short-term rental owners, property rental management companies, residents, and holding a number of meetings to get their input so that we can consider all of those factors before we would move forward.
Right, and actually there is on your website, you have a whole list of virtual meetings that will be coming up between now and basically the 1st of February for different communities, like the Gullah community, the South Island residents, the short-term rental owners. So I really like that you're providing the virtual, and then there's also a survey that you would like individuals to go on and take before, I think, January 31st.
That's correct. We've had a great response. We've had over 2,000 people fill out the survey so far, so we're really getting a lot of input, which I think is so important to understand everyone's perspective before we move forward.
Right. And so some people, oh God, I don't have time to take a survey. I know it's important, but is it long? Does it take a long time?
It should only take 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. And of course, we're discussing all of this during public meetings. There are monthly updates to the Public Planning Committee, which is a standing committee of Town Council that's directing staff's work in this project. So the next meeting is January 27th. It starts at 10 a.m. At this point, all of our public meetings are still virtual, but folks are encouraged to watch those meetings. You can speak for 3 minutes during the meeting, submit comments. Right. And so that's a good way to stay in tune with what we're doing with the project.
So very quickly, Ann, what's the timeline? You finish with the input, and then when will these standards be developed?
Sure. We're looking at the initial project timeline had standards being developed through the spring and into the summer, and some decisions made this fall. Staff's going to recommend possibly some changes to that project timeline at that meeting to the Public Planning Committee on the 27th. So we might have some more immediate things that we can address that are nuisance issues, and then take a longer look at some of the larger issues.
All right, very good. And Cyran with the town of Hilton Head, good work.
Thank you so much.
And again, we need your input, so go to the website, the town of Hilton Head, and take the survey, or you can watch one of the virtual meetings or be involved. And thanks for joining us,
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back with Talk of the Town. Don't go away.